This presentation is, we think, one of the key presentations that we've ever done because it talks about how to build a business with the idea of how to sell it and how to get to that point. This is exciting. It will help those that are just getting started or those that are thinking about selling in the near future or distant future, what you can do to maximize the value of your business. So I'm going to let Joe get started with the presentation. It'll be about 45 minutes today, and then we'll have a period of time for questions that you can type in. So, Joe, my friend, go ahead and take it over.
John, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank you, John, Joan, JC, and the entire Sunbelt organization for inviting me here today. And thank you, the participants, both now and in the future, for investing your time with us today, because time is our most valuable asset. A couple of logistical things. You should have a chat window. If you have questions as we go through this, just go ahead and put it in the chat, and our moderator, JC, will be able to see that. And we'll answer.
And you folks should see a little window pop up on your screen right now that indicates the chat box, and please do feel free to ask questions during the presentation. They'll be answered at the very end.
Yeah, we will answer the questions at the end. Please grab a pencil, pen, writing utensil, and a notepad, as I will be going through a lot of information, and you'll want to be taking some notes, because taking notes increases your retention by about 30%. So kind of the way the presentation is going to work, we're going to do a couple of things with mindset, and then we're going to dive into the content of the presentation, and then we'll ask questions at the end. So let's get started. First of all, welcome to the 6 steps of building a successful business. Thank you for attending today, and thanks Sunbelt Business Advisors. And as you build your business, you go to John, Joan, and the Sunbelt team to exit out. So my goal today is to provide you with the steps to to develop a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. If that's what you want, you're in the right place. A little bit about Action Coach. Action Coach is the world's largest business coaching firm. We've got over 1,000 coaches worldwide, and we coach over 15,000 businesses a week. I personally have coached over 1,000 businesses. A little bit about me. I've got a certified business coach, certified executive coach, NLP practitioner, and best-selling author and speaker. So thank you for your time. You want to find out more about me, please feel free to go to LinkedIn. My coaching partner, Elisa Yu. It took me 2 years to find Elisa. She is phenomenal. Not only does she have the educational background, but she also started her own business, had a very successful exit with a really strong multiplier, and she has not only the experience, but the education to help us. So I really am honored to work with Elisa. So a little bit about learning. First of all, everyone's familiar with left brain and right brain. Words, math, logic, processes is your short-term memory. Art, music, creativity, long-term memory. So how many of you would like to increase your reading comprehension by 30% starting right now?
I'll go for that. That works for me.
Excellent. So next time you're reading a book, which is words, what I would like you to do is put music in the background, specifically classical music, just loud enough to kind of open up the right side of your brain, which is your long-term memory. What happens is our reading comprehension increases substantially by that music in the background, and it works. I've had clients call me up and say, wow, it really works. That's how I got through college. So a little bit of fun here. So first of all, I'd like you to look at the following and call out the word. Are you ready, JC?
Let's do it.
Okay, go.
Red, blue, gray, brown, pink, black, green, purple, yellow, red, orange, green, orange.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like you to do the following, but call out the color, not the word. Are you ready? Go.
All right, let's do it.
Everybody.
Yellow, green, red, blue, brown, pink, black, pinkish, green, blue, gray, red, purple.
Well, that took you a lot more time. A little harder there, isn't it? What happens is we're mixing our left brain, right brain. And this happens in your business every day as you're going through your business and you're focusing on this and then focusing on this and switching your sides of your brain. It's very tiring and confusing. This is when we develop our coloring system so that we stay in the same modality for an extended period of time. And I got a lot of that in my book, brainSHARE, which we'll talk about a little later. Now, identity iceberg. Okay, a lot of you wish you could change your actions, behavior, and/or decisions. Well, guess what? You can't. These are results. These are all based on our skills, values, identity, and environment. Now, of these, the easiest thing to change is our skills. And that's what we're going to be focused on today, is providing you some new skills. And that will in turn change our actions, behavior, and decisions as we move into the future. Make sense? All right.
Yep.
So, formula for life success. Be times do equals have. When we look at this, we start with our have. So we know what we need to do and who we need to be to do what we need to do to have what we want to have. Otherwise, you'll be who you are, do what you're doing, and have what you have. This is Stephen Covey's from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and this is all of our goal setting. We must set our goals first so we know where we want to go. And we must stay above the line. We must take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything that happens in our life, in our business, and it gives us the oar or the paddle to get us where we want to go. Or we can blame, it's Jimmy's fault, excuses, my alarm didn't go off, or denial, which is don't even know I am lying to myself, might as well just stay in bed. And this not only goes for ourselves, but our teams. When you see someone below the line, call them out. Hey, let's get above the line. We've got to take responsibility for things so that we ensure we get our results. Otherwise, might as well stay in bed. And as we move on, we've got to be open to new things. Specifically, when we say or think this, what happens? Our brain shuts off. Yeah, go ahead, JC.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, well,
so our brain shuts off, all right.
Yeah, when we say or think, I know, there's a chemical reaction in our brain that our subconscious mind says, I already know that, everything bounces off. So what we want to do is instead of saying or thinking, I know, we want to go to, isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
Try it. Everybody say, isn't that interesting? You can almost feel your brain open up and allows you to gain information and data. Otherwise, everything just bounces off and we won't learn. So, the number one reason for business failure. Now, I ask this question a lot and I hear everything from not enough capital, not enough this. The number one reason is simple. It's burnout. You get so tired of running so fast for so long, you just say it's not worth it. And you shut things down. So, the steps that we're going to talk about today will help minimize some of the burnout that you're experiencing. And you'll get some BFOs, blinding flashes of the obvious. Oh, that makes so much sense. So as we go through this, jot down your notes, ask questions, and we'll get to them as we go forward. So we're going to dive into the content now, which is creating a successful business, a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. If that's what you want, you're in the right place. So first of all, let's talk about the foundation, which is mastery. This is eliminating the chaos. Some of your businesses may be a little chaotic right now. There's 4 steps in mastery. It's time. How you use your time will determine the success of your life and your business. Take notes on this one. We'll be going into more detail as we go. Number 2, destination. If you don't know where you're going, you might just end up there. Delivery, which is consistently delivering your product or service, and money. Money is the easiest. It's just numbers, but we must know our numbers. Then we get into niche, your target market, unique selling proposition, guarantee. This is also where we do our marketing plan and our sales training. And then we get to systems. Save yourself time, energy, and money. And this is where you systemize everything from your lead generation systems, your sales processes, your delivery processes, your recruiting, your hiring, your firing, your accounting. All of your systems should be documented and implemented. Michael Gerber talks about this in his book, E-Myth Revisited. If you haven't got that one, that's a must read for every business owner. And then we put the team together. This is your org chart, roles and responsibilities, KPIs. And then we get to synergy where you hire a general manager, and then you contact Joan and John and JC and put the business together and get ready to exit. And that's how we started. First of all, your business must have a dashboard. This is so you can look at your business and figure out where it's at from a profitability standpoint, a lead generation standpoint. Overall, you put your dashboard together. Some of the things that we have to focus on is money mastery. You must control your resources by budgeting and reporting. Okay? First of all, you must keep your books up to date. If you're not using QuickBooks or Xero or a accounting software package, must really consider it. You've got to know your numbers. The most important number to know is your break-even point. If you don't know your break-even point, you don't know when you're making money, when you're not. If you're not sure how to calculate this out, give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through it. And have an accountant or bookkeeper check your numbers. Well worth it. Some other tips. Negotiate with your suppliers. Introduce early settlement discounts. Ensure that your billing is prompt, especially in the trades business. Chase down people that owe you money and get rid of your bad clients. Systemize everything that you possibly can. Consider outsourcing. Team incentives. Ensure that you have your job roles, responsibilities, and accountabilities nailed down. And check your inventory and make sure you've got a good inventory control process in place. If you don't have some of these, talk to us. Time, your most valuable asset. First of all, let's get rid of the not urgent, not important stuff. This is a distraction. It should be less than 10%. Your urgent, not important stuff. If you look at this, most people are spending at least 20%. Want to get that down to 10. This is the delusional stuff. Oh, it's urgent. Well, what happens if you don't do it? Nothing. Well, then guess what? It's not really urgent. This is a delusion. It's a hallucination. Urgent and important. This is where you should be spending your time. And then not urgent, but important. This is your planning. This is where most people steal their time from to do the urgent, not important, delusional hallucination stuff. This is your planning and how you actually work on your business. This is what changes your business. How often are you in the zone? Okay, some time management tips. Don't finish today until you plan tomorrow. Okay, you should start every day reviewing your calendar and the end of every day reviewing it and planning for tomorrow. Eat a frog for breakfast every day. This alludes to the book by Brian Tracy, Eat the Frog. If you procrastinate, that is a book you must read. Create your calendaring system. If you don't have one, give us a call. We'll help you get it set up. Have agendas for all meetings and learn to delegate. These are all skills that you must have as a CEO or as a business owner. Delivery. This is consistently delivering your product or service. Make sure you're not losing stuff out the bottom of the bucket. It costs too much to get a customer. Don't lose them unless they're the ones you don't want. Clean up. Make sure you're looking at complaints. A complaint is a gift. There's a great book on that. Make sure you're reading it. Take care of the customers you have. And deliver consistency. It's about operations manuals, processes, and training your teams. There's no use getting more leads if you keep on losing them. Delivering the operations manual and checklist. Do the basics brilliantly. Get it nailed down. Must have an operations manual. Otherwise, how can you train anybody? Implement a sales process. Have a quality system. a follow-up process, and everybody must have KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators. So where you are today? Where do you want to be in 3 months? And this is how you start setting your goals and objectives and plans to get there. It's all about your goals. It sets what's called your reticular activation system. This is your subconscious mind. If you ever thought, you know, hey, I want to buy a car, and all of a sudden you start seeing that car everywhere, that's your subconscious mind trying to achieve your goals. So we must write down our goals and then put a plan in place to achieve them. Okay, it's the compass for your subconscious mind. Now, if you don't have written goals, take 10 seconds and write them down, and then you can elaborate on them later. Here's why. 70% of people have no written or verbal goals. 27% have verbal goals. 3% have written goals. Get in that 3%. I'm not saying you're going to get to the 98% of the world's wealth, but your odds get a lot better. Write down your goals, put a plan in place to get there. If you're not sure how to do that, give us a call. It's also in my book, BrainShare. There's a template in there on how to set your goals. Okay, so we've talked about mastery. Now we move into niche, which is your target market, unique selling proposition, and guarantee. Will you eliminate the price competition? Unless you're Walmart, you cannot compete on price. There's always going to be somebody lower. Okay, 2 things, unique selling proposition and guarantee. These are must-haves. Guarantees take away the fear of buying. If you're not sure how to put one together, let's talk about it. USP is what makes you different than everybody on the planet. This was an actual ad from one of our clients. Now, you look at that ad, first thing you're going to ask is probably, what's the price? Now, we modified this ad, and it looks like this. Now you're going to say, let me call them up. What we've incorporated was their unique selling proposition, their guarantee, and question-based selling, which is the recommendation I have for your sales training. If you haven't gotten sales training, get some. In just a month and a half, this company increased their revenue by $14.4 thousand. How would you like that to be in your business? Okay, to be unique, it's about standing out. It's about being something different. Every business has something different. We just got to dive in and figure out what it is. Okay, your accountant's going to tell you that marketing is an expense. Marketing should be an investment, okay? But that only happens if you test and measure everything, okay? People say 50% of advertising wasted. It's not if you're testing and measuring because you stopped doing it. Everything should be tested and measured, okay? If you're not sure how to do it, contact us. Everything from a marketing perspective can be tested. Okay, when you start looking at your profit, there's only 5 ways to really increase your profits. It's number of leads, conversion rates, which gives you a result of customers. Number of transactions times average dollar sale gives you revenue. Revenue times margin is profit in your pocket, and that's what matters. Okay? Now, most people, most businesses that we talk about, or let's look at the numbers first. Number of leads, conversion rate, gives you number of customers times transactions, average dollar sale, revenues, margins, profits. Some of your businesses may look like this. I hope not too many, because if you're in the Bay Area, you can't hardly live on that. So we're going to talk about how to increase this substantially. First of all, as we look at these different things, most businesses start focusing on the number of leads. That's the last thing you should do because that's the most expensive. First thing, what's your margin? What's your costs? How do you keep your costs down? And then, what's your conversion rate? Number 2, typically sales training and scripting increases this. Number 3, average dollar sale, upsell, cross-sell, downsell, increase your prices. Call your customers back, ask them to buy again, have a VIP club, and then number of leads. Make sense? This is the order in which you should look at this. So if we're going to talk about leads, here's some things to focus on. First of all, test and measure everything. Create a referral system, strategic alliances, website, newsletters, emails, networking. You must have at least 10 different strategies with no more than 10% of your revenue coming from any single strategy. Otherwise, your business is at risk. One of the strategies stop working, your business is at risk. What does your 10 by 10 marketing plan look like? If you don't have one, let's get together. Conversion rate. Most people don't even know their conversion rates. But you ask for the sale, use your scripting, have written scripts, sales training, sales training, sales training. I said that 3 times because it's amazing at how many businesses don't send their people to training. And set goals, written goals. Average dollar sale. Hey, when was the last time you increased your price? In California, the minimum wage has gone up about 35% over the last 2 years. If you haven't increased your price, you must be getting your efficiencies really well. Look at increasing your price. Upsell, cross-sell, use checklists, train your team, and get rid of unprofitable clients. We all have them. Number of transactions. Hey, if you're not sending out an email or a newsletter, you probably should be. Have a promotional calendar so that you know, a marketing calendar, so you know what you're doing every day. You don't have to think about it. Make sure you're delivering consistently. Have a customer relationship manager. Ask people to come back. Talk to them. It costs 6 times more to get a new client than it does to keep the ones you have. Okay, let's just say we're going to increase each of these areas by 10%. Okay, number of leads, 10%. We had some strategies there. We increase our conversion rate by 10%. That goes from a 25% to 27.5%. Not a big deal. Our customers increase by that. Number of transactions. We call everybody and say, hey, come back and buy, or send them an email. Do something with our cross-selling, upselling. Wow, revenues increase substantially. Increase our margin a little bit. See what happens to what we take home. You could do this over and over and over again. Every time you do it, 46% increase in revenues and a 61% increase in your profits. I don't know about you, but every one of my clients' businesses, as we implement this, sees these kind of results or better. So there's a process, follow the process. Okay, now we've got niche, we've got leverage. Let's talk about leverage. How do we leverage our business? You want to save your stress, time, energy, and money. Okay, there's 4 ways to systemize your business. Systems and technologies. We talked a little bit about QuickBooks or an accounting system, a lead generation system, your CRMs. These are all ways to systemize your business utilizing technology. Delivery and distribution, optimize your processes. Ensure that you're testing and measuring everything, and educate your team. Send them to training, sales training, marketing training. There's a ton of information out there with the internet. Utilize it and schedule the time to do it. Now we get into, okay, how do we systemize our business? Number 1 is we must look at our vision and mission statements. Where do we want to be? Where do we want our business to be in the future? What's our culture? If you don't define your culture, it will get defined for you, and I guarantee you will not like it. Have SMART goals. SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time frame. Organizational charts. It's amazing how many companies don't have an organizational chart. Position contracts, position descriptions with KPIs, key performance indicators. The book Traction by Gino Wickman talks a lot about this. If you don't have the book Traction by Gino Wickman, one of my high recommendations. A how-to manual. This is your operations manual, all of your processes. How can you train someone to do something if you don't have a process? It doesn't take long to write it down. One of my suggestions, if you're training somebody, have them write down the process. Then it becomes their process, and they'll follow it, and they'll be able to teach others. And then manage your milestones. Okay, so now we've talked about a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Now you get to really start putting your focused team together, because the team you have today may not be the team that you're going to need in the future. So most employees are motivated, energetic, committed, enthusiastic, and loyal, except the 8 hours they're at work. This is Tom Peters, who wrote a lot of management books. So a little humor, but how do we keep our teams motivated? Well, there's a 7-step process. Strong leadership. If you have not been to some leadership training, I strongly recommend you get to it. I like John Maxwell. It's fantastic. Tony Robbins is great, a little rah-rah for me, but get into some leadership training. Ensure you have common goals. Know the rules of the game. This is what you can do and you can't do. Have action plans, plans to achieve your goals. Support risk-taking, 100% inclusion and involvement, and ongoing training. If you're missing some of these, let's talk about how we can help you get there. Winning teams are all about having the right people on the right bus, in the right seats, at the right time. As your company evolves, you're going to need to change things. Embrace that. Business is change. And what works today will not work tomorrow. Marshall Goldsmith wrote a book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. It's true. So now we've talked about the mastery, niche, leverage, team, synergy. Now this is where you look at duplicating, franchising, or exiting. And this is when you contact John, Joan, and JC about getting your business ready to exit. So you can walk away with whatever you have set for your goals. Jim Rohn, never wish your life were easier, wish you were better. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job or business. You want to earn more, learn more. Life is pretty simple. Formula for change. Now, if you want your business to change, or your life, or if something's not changing, go back to this formula. D times V plus F must be greater than R. Yes, I am an engineer and my background. So if you're not dissatisfied with where you're at and have a vision of where you want to go, because if either one of these is a 0, the product is 0. Okay? So if you, I remember the corporate world. I spent 25 years with a little company called Hewlett-Packard. And I'd come in and people say, oh, I don't like it here. I hate it, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. Guess what? Nothing's going to change, ever. So dissatisfaction times vision plus first steps, which is what you're doing here today. Congratulations. Must be greater than resistance. Everyone is resistant to change. It's Newton's law. A body in motion will stay in motion. A body at rest will stay in rest unless affected by a greater force. So we are all resistant to change. If you're not changing, figure out, is it your dissatisfaction's not high enough or your vision's not strong enough? Okay, all kinds of stuff for vision. You can do vision boards, goal setting, mission, vision, purpose statements, a lot of tools out there. Because I guarantee in 12 months, you're going to be somewhere. The question is where. I had a client last week that said, I've been in business for 11 years. And I said, no, you've been in business for 1 year. You've just done it 11 times. And he went, uh-huh. Yeah, you're probably right. Yes. So, Warren Buffett, it's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. As we just saw, a 10% change in multiple areas can make a huge difference in our business. but we have to follow the process. Make sure your foundation is strong. Make sure your niche is strong. Target market, unique selling proposition guarantee. Your systems are in place. You put the right team and then plan your exit. And when you do, make sure you contact the Sunbelt team. So here's what we'll do for you. I've talked about a lot of stuff today. I went through it at a pretty good pace. It was meant to be that way so you get a good overview of everything and can figure out where are your biggest challenges. As you identify them, give us a call. We'll do a free business review and make some recommendations for your business. Give us a call, schedule an appointment. 408-899-6737, and we'll work with you on your specific needs. So finish up. What's your to-do list from today? We talked about where's the area that you need to do, and let's get into some questions here in a second. Get into action, and I would like to show this is my book available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Come in for a consultation and we'll get you one. But this one really talks about putting your time together and utilizing it the most effective way possible. And I'd like to thank Joan and John and JC and the Sunbelt team for allowing me to utilize some of your time today. I hopefully it was valuable for you. This will be recorded and distributed out. John, comments, questions?
You know, I don't see any questions coming in right now, but JD, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
Well, I don't want to put Joe on the spot, but do you have off the top of your head those books that you recommended through the webinar, or some of them? Let people have a chance to write those down.
Okay, so well, I've got over 100 books that I recommend, so it really depends on where you're at in your business. But a couple of the fundamental ones are E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, as in the baby food, G-E-R-B-E-R. Just so happens I have one right here. Aha. Another one is Traction by Gino Wickman, W-I-C-K-M-A-N. He has what's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, the EOS, and is one of the most powerful books that I recommend. I've got a lot of other recommendations. It really depends on where you're at in your business. So give us a call and we will walk through and find out. I'll also send out, John, I'll send it to you and the team, 100 books every entrepreneur must read. If you're not spending at least 10 to 15 minutes a night reading, you're missing the boat. You want to earn more, learn more. Life is simple.
You know, what would be a good idea, Joe, is, yeah, maybe we could even turn that into maybe some type of blog for those of you who are subscribed to our blog, or if you haven't, maybe you can subscribe to that and get that list out to people that depend on us for those types of things. I did have one question for you, Joe. So, you know, a big part of this is burnout, as you mentioned, and this is going to help with business owners to alleviate their burnout. But you mentioned something about calendaring and that they should give you a call for that, and something that I'd seen before on your website, and I thought it was fantastic. Can you give a little snippet of what that looks like?
Sure. So when we talk about our calendar, a lot of, and this is the book, and I'm actually going to refer to it, because a lot of us have to be multiple things at multiple times. So we've got to be both the CEO, we've got to be the VP of operations. So what we want to do is we want to try to put together a model that says, what percentage of time do I need to be spending in each of these areas? What percentage of time do I need to be the salesperson? What percentage of time do I need to be the operations manager? And we walk through a process that says, what percentage of my time need to be allocated where? And then we start doing time blocking. And then we start putting in the tasks that need to be done into the system. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to implement this system, but I guarantee you 8 hours back in your work week at a minimum. I'm averaging 12 right now. I know that's at a high level, but the key is, where should you be spending your time, and are you doing that? Other questions?
Okay, I would like to reiterate something Joe has said, and most of us have probably heard it. When you get into business, you need a plan on how to get out of your business. It's a key element, and it's so far in the future for most of us, but it's such an important element because it carries through everything that you do on that journey. Now, Joe has just given a tremendous number of tools. I would recommend people listen to this webinar again and find the ones that touch you right now and begin implementing them or thinking about them. And if that task is possibly too large, give Joe a call. Free consultation is free and invaluable in itself. And many people that I know have talked to Joe and been with him, and his help is amazing along the way, and the payoff is pretty much immediate. If that payoff could be dollars, that payoff could be peace of mind, could be adding some joy into the process of business, number of different payoffs, but they're there, and these systems can provide it. And of course, we're here. Go ahead.
Oh, the one I like the most is spending more time with your family, because too many business owners spend all their time at work and not with their family. And we have a business to support our personal lives, not to be our lives. And many of my clients, we've actually put 8 to 10 hours back in their work week where they can spend with their family and loved ones. And planning for that exit, this is what John was alluding to. I can't tell you how many businesses I've worked with that have no plan on what they're going to do what they're going to do with their business. And it's just, why spend all that time and energy in your life if you're not going to have a plan on how to exit? And that's what John and Joan and the Sunbelt team really do.
And in our business, which is helping people move on to the next chapter of their life by selling their business, we often have a few months, maybe a year, to accomplish that. We like to tell people, like this seminar, a few years in advance, at least 3, to really focus on your end strategy and run those plans through. This webinar talks about doing that for, whatever that is, Joe, 5 years, 10, 20 years for running your own business. It's important to the whole process, but we have to plan on how to market a business when someone comes to us and wants to sell. And if you are thinking of that in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, seriously consider this. The multipliers, as Joe showed, you increase several categories by 10%, and you get 60+% increase in net income. That math is phenomenal. So by making decisions now on how you want to exit, what needs to be done, adding good personnel, gaining some energy back into it so you keep the business going and growing, all those things are really important from our point of view, which is maybe a little shorter term on how we take you to market and get the best price for your business.
Well, and John, to get the best price for your business, you must not, if you are the business, it's not worth very much. When you build this commercial profitable enterprise that works without you, that's when the company is worth, the valuation just goes up substantially. But if you are the business, guess what? If you leave, the business does too. So how do we build that commercial profitable enterprise that works without you? We just talked about that, and start down that path. Take your first step.
So I'm dealing with a business owner right now that frankly is in that category of being in the business They do a wonderful job serving the community and the type of business that they're in. However, they forgot that it was a business. And so they're putting all this love and care and work into it and they're getting personal satisfaction out of it, but they're not getting an income. And frankly, the only way to sell this business is really sell the real estate that it's sitting on, because the business has no value. Now, real estate's pretty valuable in Silicon Valley, but still there could have been so much more if attention was paid to these rules and suggestions for building your business to run without you. This is a current situation. It's sad to see, but at least they have the real estate, and that's good.
Well, John, I see that a lot, and a lot of times it comes back to, do they really have a business? Because there's three types of businesses in my mind. There's a hobby, which means you love what you're doing. You may or may not make money at it, and I see this with a lot of services like personal trainers and yoga instructors and things like that. It's more of a hobby than it is a business, because they love it. Now, and then there's the job. The job business is, if you're not there, it doesn't make any money. That's a lot of the professional services, your doctors, your attorneys, etc. That it's a job and it's not necessarily a business. And then there's the business. If you take your attorney firm or your professional service firm and create it into a firm, then it becomes a business because it can work without you. The more the business works without you, the more valuable it is from a sales perspective, and the more John and his team can get out from the valuation perspective. So do you have a business, or do you have a hobby? Do you have a job or a business? You got to ask yourself that, and then we can start putting plans in place to get to where you want to go.
Well, Joe, we've been 45 minutes here, and don't see any more questions. So I think we have covered the subject quite well. I hope everyone that's listening has gotten something out of this, a few things or more. We're here to help and answer any questions that you might have afterwards. Joe is here. We can reiterate his phone call number, or you'll have access to this on the web. So listening. So Joe, thank you. That's
John,
really
I actually
a great presentation and great information.
I actually see a couple of questions that just came in. One of them is, what do you think franchise business compared to non-franchise businesses for a first-time adventure? Also, buy existing business compared to starting your own business. It really depends on your goals and objectives, Vivian. So you have to dive into it. Buying a business is a great jump start and get you going, as long as it's a business that you can improve on. So if it's you don't want to necessarily buy a really well-run business, because what are you going to do to change it? You're going to pay a lot for it. I like buying businesses that kind of suck, and that way you can improve them and make them worth a lot more money. You know, when you become a real business owner, you're looking at investing, buying and selling businesses, and there's a lot of tools to help evaluate that. So Vivian, I like franchises too. I like all businesses, as long as you can make a difference. So we'll be happy to talk to you about that some more. John.
Yeah, let me add to that too. But the difference between buying a franchise and buying an existing business, there's a third category, and that's starting a business from scratch. Very dependent on the personality type of the person and goals. We know some very creative people who have thoughts and ideas about how to grow, build, create a new product. They don't typically do well in franchises, because the franchise is a standardization of a product and a service across the board. And the franchisor is providing that creativity. The franchisee is carrying it out. And so the creative type might not want to go in that direction if they think that they can make a better hamburger. So that plays into which way you want to go. On the other hand, the franchise provides quite a few of the tools that you need to build a business: the marketing, advertising, training, financials, those sorts of things. If those are weak areas, a franchise might be good for you, especially to start out and then learn the ropes. And in the future, you can move on to your own business. So there's no straight answer to that question, but there are some things to consider.
Okay, John had a question. Some buyer segments can be described as buyers who are currently employed full-time in a high-tech, for example. They want to invest in a business that can be an absentee business, 5 to 10 hours a week now, to diversify income. In 3 to 5 years, they may want to be in it full-time. These are businesses that are not readily available in the market. They are closely held. What advice do you have for a buyer like this and how to realize this? I would definitely talk to Sunbelt on what businesses are. There's a lot of businesses out there that can be operated as an absentee owner. It's hard to grow that, but I'll actually let John answer that question. It really looks like somebody that wants to buy a business that's a absentee owner.
Well, that was a long, complex question, but I'll pick apart what I can on there. They're probably the most valuable of businesses because they have accomplished what Joe's been talking about for the last 40 minutes. And you can start looking at things in terms of return on your investment versus the wages that you're earning by working hard in the business. That's the E-Myth idea there, that when you're absentee, if you know how to control, absentee doesn't mean you are absent. It means you're just not there full time in the business. You want to have those planning meetings, conversations with your management, guidance, ideas, all those things. So you might have another job. Frankly, I think that makes it more difficult. If you're well employed in high tech and you want something absentee, how much time, effort are you going to put into that to grow it? It may be self-sustaining, but that's not why people buy businesses, is to take something self-sustaining. They want it to grow. So again, that's a long discussion of what to do. There are businesses out there. They're typically valued higher, and we will always counsel you on how do you think you can handle this business successfully. And you might need to put full time in at the beginning in order to get to know the clients, the personnel, the products, procedures, products, all those things. So it's rarely fully absentee, unless you just want to be a stockholder, go onto the market and buy some stock.
Yeah. And so John LeMay, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a really complex answer. It really depends on specifically what you're looking for, and I think it would take some conversation. So please give Sunbelt or our Action Coach a call, and we'll be happy to walk through it, what your specific situation is and what you're looking for. There's all kinds of tools and resources out there, and one of my jobs is to help just point you in the right direction.
You could just tell them that all the wonderful business owners on this webinar will be having a semi-absentee business in the near future after being on this webinar. And, they'll be contacting us when they're ready to sell. So, yeah.
Well, as my coach tells me, the process is simple. It's not easy. And that is a fact. Nice. The process is simple, but it's not easy. Yeah. And you got to take it, you got to figure out where you are today. What's that next step? What's that next step? What's that next step? It's amazing at how little you can get done in 30 days. It's amazing at how much you can get done in 90. So
fantastic.
Okay. Any more questions, JC? Do you see anything?
No, it's coming through the Q&A, and I think we answered the two that came through there. And to that point, if anybody has any more questions after the webinar, again, you'll see our phone numbers on the screen. You'll have our contact information. Call in to Joe, call in to Sunbelt, and of course we will continue conversations off this information.
I'd like to thank everyone for their time investment today. I hope it was valuable for you. And anything we can do to answer your questions, let us know. Have a great, great day.
All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you, everybody from Sunbelt. Have a great day.